So let it be written. So let it be done.
Basic community, bro, ain't no cap, it's so verity. I had to learn about rarity, commodities, currencies, NFTs. My verse in a virtual reality, the metaverse case you need clarity. But I ain't that smart, guess who teaching me? The same man who taught me about multitasking, man, I do the best.
What's going on? It's the Underdog Research channel. Hope everybody's doing really good. I am happy to be here today. I'm happy that we're able to have this conversation. I have a questions and answers for you. Let me pull this up and get right into the conversation. Crypto questions and underdog answers. Today, I'm going to go through questions that have been left on the platform over the last few weeks. Now, I don't get an opportunity to address these publicly in this format, but typically I would leave a comment to try to reply to everybody I can. Now, some of this I think is beneficial because I believe that you are able to use this information and you're able to answer other questions you might have. I'm going to also bring up some of the questions that are not really questions. They're more statements, and they could be on a critical area, and I want to talk about that as well. Now, even though I bring this up, I want you to understand that your questions are posted publicly. So today I'll be presenting about 20 questions that you posted publicly. So I'll be sharing your information out there from what you posted online on my platform. And I'm going to give you the answers. You might not like what you hear, but you need to get the straightforward information because you asked, so I'm going to make sure I respond. So with that being said, let's get into it. But before I do that, I want to say thank you to my new members to the Underdog Research channel. Recently, I've launched on top of my regular membership in my private network, a YouTube membership, and I didn't realize so many people were ready to become members. So thank you very much. I want to give you a shout out before we get started into the midst of that. If you didn't know, if you want to become an Underdog member, you want to go further, there's a QR code. Scan that QR code, gives you 3 options. If you join, there's benefits at each level, but at the Underdog Research Analyst level, you get exclusive access to a series that I do that are not released publicly for you to go deeper than anywhere else can see. And I really appreciate it. So make sure that you want to be a part of that content. There's a QR code. But let's shout out those members real quick so I can talk to you. So let me go ahead and give a shout out to my new members, Mike Main, Willem, Hero Tamani, Sunny Chi Music, Phantom Beat, Jody Pope. You are some of the first that joined the memberships, and I want to make sure I shout you out. Also, you have Chriscus BX, HB3, The Ducks in My Pond, Willem, Linaroko, Curtis Tonka. You also joined right off the bat. And then we have the last that had joined recently, Mama Lacey, Joseph McHenry, Per O'Dane, 86 Digital, Aaron H, My Time, Blue Ink, L1L, and Wilhelm Kredzik. Now, I hope that I captured everybody there. I just want to make sure that I tell you thank you. By you becoming a member, you're taking that step to learn and get deeper insights. And I hope that you've been enjoying the series. If you haven't already seen this, folks, I have a new series that I have going on. I have the Swift Coin Connected series. This is exclusive to the members at the analyst level. And members who are not at the analyst level get first viewership of different cryptocurrency blockchain projects I talk about, like my CyberPaw podcast and other videos. They see them first, and then everyone else sees those later. So make sure if you want to learn more that you get in it. And so what episodes are you looking at right now? We got episode 1 released. We had episode 2. It's out there. Episode 3. And I just finished episode 4 in this series. We're connecting big money, big banks, big names, and big projects. And I'm showing you other projects along the way. And for those who are a part of it, let me know. You're here right now. Let me know if you have enjoyed this so far. So I appreciate it. Now, this is going to be a real casual conversation. I'm about to take off the normal conversations I have with you, and we're going to get a little relaxed because you asked me for my perspective. So I'm going to give you my perspectives. This is not financial advice. I don't tell you how to trade. I don't tell you how to sell, but this is going to be my perspective based on researchable facts and things I've learned. Before I do, let me see who's in the chat room. What we got going on here? Phantom Beat. What's going on, Phantom? How you doing, man? It's good to see you. You're always in there, always watching and been rocking with me. So I appreciate you, Phantom. Thank you for being here. We got Mike Doze. Thumbs up to you too, brother. Appreciate you being here. Thoughts on Telcoins? All right, I'll get to that. And greetings for Hiro Tamani. Good to see you. Now, I just want y'all to know today, just like I said here in the research video, as I talk about these different topics today, I'm going to give you the best information I can based on things I've researched and also my own personal opinion. And then we'll go through these questions. And if I have time at the end, I'll answer any questions that I know here. So y'all ready? I'm ready. Let's get started with this. So starting with this, let's go to the first question. First question is from Michael MC Dermott. Michael asked a question, but it's really more of a statement. It said Swift coin down 89%. Now I've responded to Michael directly, so let me go ahead and give you my response now as well. And before I do that, let me make sure that if you have a comment, make sure that you're commenting as we go. So Swift coin is down 89%. From my research, based on the things I know, Swift coin, if you are based on price action, it's down a lot from the time that it first started. In fact, years ago when Swift coin came out in 2017, to the best of my knowledge, it was in a high cents. And then just like most blockchain projects, after that initial release, it went down quite substantially. Now, I don't know how else to say this, but I like to make sure that I'm very clear. My platform is not based on price action. If you notice, other than in my very early days of coming to YouTube, I used to tell people about price. And then I stopped doing that because I recognized a couple of things that I think is applicable to this. If you go to a content creator who's making something based on price, then you probably should go back to that content creator to look for trading signals and other information that you find important, because you are basing the value of a project on price, where this platform doesn't place value on price at all. In fact, I very rarely talk about price. Even if it goes up or down, I very rarely talk about price, because for the content I provide you, it's to help you to better understand the technology. It's to help you to better understand the connections. You have to look at everything you do in this space and make a decision on whether or not you want to put your money into something. That's something I can't tell you. So I don't know if it's 89% down. I don't have those details right in front of me, but Swift coin at some point, depending on when you entered, you could have went when it first started. So if you started in 2017 and it was first released, it was in a high cents. I want to say 6 cents. It could have been higher than that. I don't know offhand. Go check out CoinMarketCap. And then it went down. And it stayed down from my videos that I've did previously over 2 years ago. It stayed down for about 6 years. And then after that, we saw explosive growth again. Did it ever reach that all-time high? No, I don't think it ever reached that all-time high on the first day of release. But for many people who didn't know about Swift coin, when they didn't buy it pre-coin issuance and they got into Swift coin, they saw it from where I started talking about it. And that was at 20% of a penny. For 20% of a penny, when I first started talking about this, which was around October of 2023, until we saw the exponential growth of it after that 6 years of delay. Remember, it started in 2017. My first video didn't come out and to even mention it till October of 2023 when I first researched it. January of 2024, my first video started to come out. It wasn't until April until I did the Billionaire Blueprint and I did a Swift coin overview. From that time of 20% of a penny, Swift coin went all the way up, and I believe to about 3 cents. So for those people who had an entry there, regardless if they did it based on price or did it based on the technology, those people won. But what if you're a person who got in it at the 3 cents and it went down? And it's been down since 2024. Well, if you look at price action, historically, it did it for 6 years. It stayed stagnant for 6 years. So that person who got it in 2024 at the height of 2024, and it went down, as I was 2025 at the height of 2025, and it went down, they've only been waiting for 10 months. So does that mean it has no value? The way I look at SwiftCoin is just like any other project. If you are in one of these 3 categories, should help you dictate your thoughts about any project. Are you a crypto trader? Are you a crypto gambler? Or are you a crypto hodler? Now, I can't tell you which one of those 3 you are, but you'll know. A crypto trader will be trading mostly daily or every other day. You look for market advantages, things to go up, things to go down. You look for opportunities, whether it's 10% or 15%. You got 3 screens up. You got trading view. You look at arbitrage. If this is not applicable to you, then you're not a real crypto trader. So even though you can say you're a retail investor, that may be true. Traders trade and they make decisions based on market cap, based on price action. That's never been applicable to my platform. If you're a crypto gambler, you don't even look at that. You look at thumbnails, you hear people hype, and based on hype, you make an investment in a cryptocurrency project, and you don't know nothing about it. You don't do any research about it, and it's hope. You hope it goes up. If it goes up, you sell, or you don't sell because you want more money, and you gamble your profits, and then it goes down, and then you feel it's a scam. So the first thing you say is it's a scam. And that's your way of looking at the market. That's what you do. So I can't tell you if that's good or not. That's your decision. You're a crypto gambler, though. And then most of us are crypto hodlers. Crypto hodlers are people who research a technology. You like the technology. You research. You like what you believe might be potential based on speculation. You speculate that if you buy this thing, you'll make some money. But you recognize that you might have to wait to get that money, and you recognize it may not go anywhere. You may lose. So you listen to a whole bunch of voices. You do your own research. You make a decision, and you own it. You own your decision. You own what you get, and you don't blame it on anybody else. That's where most people are. So SwiftCoin, is it down 89%? I don't have the stats in front of me, but I do know that it's not reached this all-time high. And I do know that it's down significantly. I also know last time I checked, Bitcoin is looking at about $100,000 per coin. And it was $120,000. It had the largest crypto crash ever. And this is the cycle. This is why you're in crypto, for those who are making money, because you like the volatility. Otherwise, you'll be in stocks. So I know why you're here, but SwiftCoin being down, it may be 89%. My answer to that is that's the market. So let's go ahead and keep going. Let's see what we got going on in the chat room before we go to the next one. What we got classes in session. What's going on, Tony? Tony, my man. Tony helped me get a whole new theme. And let me show you. This is based on you, Tony. This is you. Fear the Beard. Blockchain exploration and analysis, research and development. That's what we're doing here, folks. Fear the Beard content. So thank you, Tony. I appreciate it, brother. All right, let's get to the back to where we're at. Let's see what we got going here. We got Mike Main in the house, Underdog Research member. What's going on, Mike Main? One of the first people who took advantage of the memberships. I appreciate you being here. If y'all want to be a member, make sure you take just a moment, scan a QR code. At the highest level is 66 cents a day. That is exactly 2 quarters, a dime, and a nickel a day. If you can afford 2 quarters, a dime, and a nickel a day, you can get the highest membership and get exclusive content. Mike, tell them what's going on. I know you're watching the series. Can you please tell them in the chat that if you've watched SwiftCoin before, that they have never seen the information that's been going on in these conversations in Swift Coin. Can you please tell them? They don't believe me, Mike. Let's get here. We got Chase. He says, let's go Swift. Great buying opportunity. Chase sees it. Now, Chase, are you buying it based on the price, or are you buying it based on the information you've learned about it? See, that's the thing. Depending on who you are, that's going to dictate what you believe. We got a Green Knuckles with the incredible news from Stronghold, hoping you'll cover. Now, I don't cover Stronghold because my good friend and a fellow content creator, Black Roo Investing, covers Stronghold, and I personally try to avoid stepping on anything that my brother does, because it's like, just imagine my position. Imagine Michael Jackson is performing and you're also an artist, and he does woohoo, and he spins around and he grabs himself and he moonwalks, and then the crowd goes wild, and then my tail goes up there as an amateur trying to perform after Michael Jackson. That's the equivalent of me trying to go up and do content about Stronghold, knowing good and well that Black Roo Investing does it. So at the end of this, I'm going to give y'all the link to one of the best in the business, Black Roo Investing. He got the information. I'm a humble servant of my fellow content creators here to help you, but I'm not going to step in the ring with Black Roo Investing. No, I'm going to stick in my lane. Zero knowledge proofs and other things, identity verification, data verification. That's my lane in 2025, 2026. I'll let Black Roo handle those other things. You got a good one there. So I appreciate it, but I won't be following Stronghold for right now. Let's see what we got going on here. We have, it said today, crypto is grown man game. Get out of it if you can't take the, Mike, I saw that in the chat. Yes, it is. Crypto is a grown person's game. Straight up. If you don't want to be in it, then you need to get out of it. It is the most volatile, sometimes nasty business you can be in. But there's some beauty in it if you better understand it. And that's the thing about it. I think that a lot of people don't really understand it. And then you wake up one day and you've been in it for a few years and you think you understand it, but you really don't get it. When you see it from the perspective that some of the people in my platform, people in the Roo crew, that's Black Roo Investors crew, the underdogs see it. When you understand it better, then you see the beauty in it. Okay. I feel you, brother. All right. What we got? Fear the beard. Love it. My beard isn't as luxurious as yours, though. Hey, Tony, man. Look, everybody got their own beard game. From one fellow beard game to another, man, I respect the beard. So I appreciate you putting me up on game, man. I appreciate it, brother. All right. What we else got? We got Green Knuckles. Green Knuckles, I feel you. I've been following Roo for some time. He covers it well. Respect. Yes, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate Black Roo Investing. I watched him before I had a channel years ago, and I was doing research for my own family and friends and sharing it with them. I never thought I would share my research publicly. I never thought about it. What's the advantage? We get nothing out of it sharing it publicly other than giving you information. It takes a lot of work and time. But, my goal is to help people to better understand these things, because really you're at a disadvantage because these big hedge funds, they have people they pay lots of money to. A lot of people in crypto don't even want to pay anything, but you want to get prosperity from it. And I don't understand the mentality. A hedge fund pays millions of dollars in fees to a financial advisor, someone who went to school and they should have, and helps to invest their money. A retail investor mindset is, I'm just going to get it for free, and if it goes up, I'll give an accolade. If it goes down, I'll blame the person who told me about it. It's the craziest thing. I've never really understood it. We are already at a disadvantage because it's not a regulated industry. So there's no such thing as insider trading. These people are doing everything. They know exactly when they're going to list. They know exactly when they're going to sell. They know exactly when they're going to invest. And then we have to scrape together the scraps. And people like myself, Black Roo, and other cryptocurrency project researchers who try to stick to researchable facts, we try to put you in a position to win by doing that work for you. Lots of hours it puts into this to help you to win. So I feel you on that, brother. All right. Thank you, Mike. So listen, folks, we're about to get back to the question, but I want to show this out because y'all think I'm playing with you. Mike, thank you. Mike said this, and let me see if I can put his comment there. Mike says that the information in this series is unparalleled. I'm all in. Folks, I'm telling you, if you watched, I'm going to get to the questions. This is for you guys. This is for you. This is your question. This is your time. I don't do this often. So it's been months since I've done this, maybe even over a year. So listen, I'm not trying to shield, but I'm trying to shield the knowledge. It's not about SwiftCoin. You can talk to Mike Main. Mike Main is right there. He is he's a member, one of the first members. He watches the series every week. If you watched my Billionaire Blueprint from 2024, if you watch my SwiftCoin series, the first one, I feel that I gave people the most in-depth series ever. It was the most quoted and the most watched video on Swift on YouTube completely. And that means it's the most watched video by anybody in 2024 when I released this video. So that conversation went from the overview of SwiftCoin that people didn't understand about red packets in China and the connections to the Billionaire Blueprint, which was based off of a company called Shima Capital. Now, you may not understand all this stuff because you haven't watched the preliminary videos, but I make the videos for you to understand it. Let me say this, folks, and then I'll get back to the questions. Shima Capital was a company that invested, and I discovered, and one of the first people to bring to your attention that there was billionaires, which I called the Billionaire Blueprint, who invested in Shima Capital to send their money to Swift blockchain. But if you only look at it from the standpoint of Swift blockchain, you're missing the bigger picture. From that, we learned that there's connections to other cryptocurrency projects. We learned who are these people. So some people follow wallets. I follow the money. I follow the tech. While other people are watching wallets to see where they're moving tokens, I follow the people. You follow the people who put the money in the thing that they put it in. You invest the way they invest. And if you do that and you're putting this all together, you can win. So if you watched the Billionaire Blueprint, you saw nothing of what I'm showing people in this new series, which is not based off of Shima Capital. It's based on a whole other thing. I am showing my Underdog Research members at the analyst level billions of dollars and connections to people that they never heard of from outside of the continental US. And it's not China. It's not China at all. So you need to really make sure you understand it, because you can apply to this. You can find out what other companies you might like. XRP, we're talking about Optimism, Polygon. I could go on of different companies that are associated, that if you just follow this platform and follow this series, you can get that knowledge too. So I want to put that out there. So thank you for saying that, Mike Main. Black Roo, Green, Black Roo. We're going to go to Black Roo's platform. There's no way I can do a conversation without talking about my friend Black Roo. So absolutely. Thank you for saying that. We got E. Thank you for being here, E. He says, I bought Swift based on the information. The bag's packed for a long time. Underdog rules, shook focus, have some of the best information on Swift. Thank you, E. E is one of the greatest out there. I appreciate you, the great support. Thank you. All right, folks, I'm going to get back to where I'm at. Right now, we stopped at E's comment. Keep leaving your comments. This is a free ask, talk among yourselves. We're having a conversation here. But I want to answer some of the questions that you asked. So let me get back to the questions. So the next question was from Matt GN3KT. He says, great video. What do you think about optimism in this video? What do you mean about optimism? So this is something I've been meaning to tell you, folks. If you notice that previously, there was a conversation. I showed you BlackRock build, and inside of that was a token called Optimism. I've been focusing this whole time on zero knowledge proofs. That is a mathematical algorithm that helps with privacy and security. That's the 50,000 foot view. I will go into that later on, but I wanted to tell people that this is a particular way of verification. Optimisms is the opposite, but it's a methodology that you can utilize that verifies and trusts everyone. But the manner in which it works is helps for privacy and security. It has its ups, it has its downs. I have not talked about optimisms, but I'm very familiar with it because when I did the Money Trail series, I found a project called Alt Layer. And Alt Layer has zero knowledge proofs. And one of its competitors that is connected to is Optimism. Optimism is also a token in the Build project that is also with BlackRock, which gives exposure to their customers. So the 50,000 foot view, what Optimism is, imagine verifying something and you trust that the thing the person says is true. And on the underlying aspect of it are protocols that helps you to verify if it's true. And that is Optimism. And I haven't talked about that. So to answer your question that was asked, Optimism is both a token and a process, just like zero knowledge proofs is a mathematical algorithm. And some companies like ZK Sync, which is Matters Labs, the company created a technology called ZK Sync, which uses the algorithm as their product. I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's keep going. Next question we got from VII. You've talked about Plume, Securitize, Nest. Maybe I missed it, but without giving financial advice, what's your opinion on what you would focus on holding if you could only go with Plume or Nest? Or at least what you would start with? I think Plume might be the play, but I'm confused about how Nest Assist are managed. I see Treasury and other network types like Alpha. Of course, more research is needed. So thank you for that question. So let's first break down that question in two parts. I need you to first identify for people to understand what is being asked here. When I gave you the Connected series, a series I have, you can watch it. I'm still doing a Connected series. The Connected series brought you to a project called Plume. So for those who don't know, Plume is a cryptocurrency project in the real world assets industry. Okay. Plume, the project, created a product called Nest. Nest is a collaboration partnership with another company called Elixir. Elixir has a product called DEUSD, a stablecoin. Plume created a product which is called PUSD, a stablecoin. Plume and Elixir collaborated together and they created another product called Nest. Nest has 7 vaults. Each of these vaults give different products for their customers who utilize Nest for exposure to an investment strategy. Some strategies are higher risk, some strategies are lower risk, but the point of it is for you to not just hold a crypto token and wait for the fluctuations in price. The point of it is to convert your Plume crypto token into a stable coin and expose that stable coin in the ecosystem of Nest. And you choose which Nest or vault will have the best exposure for you. Here's the best way to explain it. Imagine you having stock. Imagine you have bonds. And imagine that you are playing the lotto. And imagine you also, on top of that, are invested in crypto. Stocks, bonds, lotto, crypto. If you invest in stock, then it's long-term investments. It might go up a couple of cents. It might take a few months. You might hold it for years. The company goes up in value. It doesn't go out of business. So you invested in something, you put your money in it. If it goes up, you make money. You invest in bonds, you get a yield. Maybe it's 5%. For every dollar you spend, the government will say, hey, we'll give you back 5 cents. So you make $1.05. You got to keep your money invested to the maturity of those bonds. That's how you make your money. Now we're going to crypto. Price action fluctuates constantly. It's not stable. It can go up 20x. It can go down 20x. Your money is not stable, but you put it in there. It goes up. You get exposure to it. Your money makes a profit. Imagine if your money didn't go down, but you put it invested in cryptocurrency projects and they go up. Then you get more yield. And then finally, you're just gambling, right? So Nest gives you 7 vaults. Currently, not all these vaults are available in the United States yet for you to use, but you can still use their stablecoin, PUSD. These nests are connected to products on the institutional investors. We're not talking about retail. We got to make sure that we understand these terms. You are a retail investor. An institutional investor are like Blackstone, Primaco, BlackRock, Fidelity. These are institutional investors. They pull big amounts of money. You only have your money. Now, because they're connected to BlackRock and Hamilton Lane, for example, you as an investor would never, ever be able to get any yield from that if you didn't have Nest, because these financial products are not for retail investors. They're for institutional investors. So the advantage of it is BlackRock created one product of many called Build, 7 cryptocurrency products that they offer to other institutional investors that you cannot invest in. Because of the relationship and Plume being the only approved SEC transfer agent in the market, you can now connect Plume stablecoins or Elixir stablecoins to BlackRock's product that they only offer institutional investors and get yield earning tokens, meaning you can make money by investing. The advantage is it's a stable coin, so it keeps the value pegged at the US dollar. So if you get in one of the yields that has higher earning, then you might make more money. But you're not going to lose your position because it's a stable coin. So if you put $10,000 in, you'll at least get $10,000 out. But while it's in there, you may choose the right portfolio in the Nest, the 7 vaults. And depending on how you allocate your $10,000 and what vaults, some of those vaults might yield more, some might yield less, some might break even. That's how it works. So I want to make sure you understand your question you asked was, what's your opinion on what you would focus on holding, Plume or Nest? If you're in the continental US, you can't hold Nest because you can't access it yet. I believe, in my opinion, when the Clarity Act is approved, then we will be able to start holding these type of products. So right now, your only option in the United States is to hold Plume. If you're lucky enough and you're in another place, you can hold Nest and Plume. And since Nest is invested in with stable coins, PUSD, then you have the benefit of holding some of your Plume token allocated to PSD by you converting into stable coins, and the other ones stay in the market. And if the market goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down, just like any other transaction in crypto. And then on the second part of your comment, you said, or at least what would you start with? I think Plume might be the play, but I'm confused about how Nest Assist are managed. I see Treasury and other network types like Alpha. Of course, more research is needed. And that's a good observation. Plume and Elixir manage these Nest vaults, but you are really the person who's in custodial control. You convert your tokens of Plume to a PUSD or DUSD, who is their partner with Elixir. You decide which vault to allocate your tokens. You want to put 1,000 in this one, vault 1 or vault 7. Each vault represents a different type of investment strategy. And if you invest correctly based on your best knowledge, then each vault can be very prosperous. But let's say you invest all your money to a vault. That vault is a ETF. ETFs go down. You don't lose your money, but you're not going to get yield. Where somebody else invests the same $10,000 into vault 1, and that vault might be the build product, and that build product or treasuries or securities or debts, whatever that product is, does really well. So the person in product 1, which is vault 1, makes more money than you do. And even though y'all both invested $10,000, even though y'all both converted to PUSD, they chose a portfolio of risk that turned out in their favor. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, so let's go back over here. I got E's comment up. Let's see what we got going on. We got ZK Sync. Let me see what we got here. Hero Tamani, ZK Sync is pumping while others are bleeding. Listen, ZK Sync has been bleeding for a long time. Just so y'all know, I've been looking at ZK Sync since 2023. I first saw it when I started researching Swift because it was one of the underlying technologies with Swift Coin, which is part of my series I talk about. And now it's going up. Now, here's the thing about it. We're all late to the party. Now, if you only heard about ZK Sync when I first brought it up, that means you didn't hear about it until my Connected series. I did talk about it a little bit when I talked about Swift Coin in 2024. But at that time, I didn't go into depth with it because there's a lot of other things to cover. Now, there's big names in that. The Connected series shows you, if you're watching my Swift episode that I've been telling you about, you can see the series. You need to find out why ZK Sync has been in behind the scene. So what Hero Tamani is saying here, also a member, thank you for being a member, is going up while it's bleeding. We just saw 120% gains. Now, again, it's not about the gains. There's nobody who invested in ZK Sync based on the research I gave, based on it doing really well. In fact, if you invested in ZK Sync, you took a chance because when I talked about it, it was down and it went up. It's doubled in price. So what does that mean? It was doing for people who invested in it before I talked about it. It's been down for several years. Are you investing based on gambling? Are you investing based on your belief in the technology? Or are you a retail trader and you're doing day trading? You got to pick a side. But yeah, ZK Sync is pumping when everything else is not. So appreciate that comment. We got you speak it well. I appreciate the mindset. Thank you, Green Knuckles. I appreciate that. Phantom Beat, listening to you helped me get past my ETH bias. Kept me from missing out on Swift and ZK. What's your Phantom? What is your ETH bias? You got to give me. You can't just leave that. What was your ETH bias? I want to know. You got me curious. What was your ETH bias? I love it. I love it. No, you're right. ETH has been through some stuff, but there's opportunities, folks. There's a lot of money in these markets, and whether we like it or not, it's going to be moved. So, hey, Phantom, come back and tell me what your ETH bias was. Zcash uses ZK proof, and it's been pumping of a late. Zcash is also in the conversation in the Connected, and Zcash is also in the Swift Coin series episodes for the exclusive membership. So yes, Zcash is the first, one of the first in the blockchain market. And it's important because there's a connection to Swift Coin. And I'm saying that because everyone who's listening to this, if you're not in Swift Coin, you're like, Underdog, that's not for me. I don't care about Swift Coin. I'm not talking about Swift Coin. I'm showing you an example through Swift Coin. You can apply to other projects if you just take the time to look. But Zcash, they are invested in by Barry Silbert. And Zcash has went up over 762% this year. If you had looked at Zcash when I first talked about the zero knowledge technologies, and I brought up Zcash in one episode in the connected series and the connected deep cuts, let's say you had to just jump in it then, you would have been up 762%. 762%. That's over a 7.5x. So, like you said, what does that mean? Does that mean that Zcash is a great product? It depends. If your mindset is based on price action, I just showed you a 7.5x. This year alone, I gave you humanity. It went up over a 200x. This year alone, I've told you about zero knowledge proofs in ZK Sync, 2.5x from the bottom. If you didn't get at the bottom, you got a 1.2x. And I'm saying, well, I'm talking 120%. So it's not even the years out yet. And I've already given you 3 projects that went up more. Let's keep going. Let's talk about Plume. Plume, I talked about 6 cents. Before the price went down because of the market, it went up to 13 cents. 6 to 12 is 100%. Plus 13, that's a 1.1. So that's a 1.1x. You want to keep going. We'll talk about SwiftCoin. SwiftCoin was at 20% of a penny. It went up to 3 cents. So how many X's did that make you? You want to keep going? We could keep going. Mocha, told you about that when Mocha was told to me. I researched Mocha. It came out before it came out at 6 cents, went up to 45 cents. Some say it touched 50. I didn't get the 50. I told my community that I was going to buy 1 million of Mocha. Even if I had to get a loan to get it, I was going to get 1 million of Mocha, and I did. So what do you think happened when you buy something for 6 cents and you get 1 million of it? And if you pay $60,000 to get 1 million of it, and it goes up to 50 cents, and you can sell at 45 cents because you're doing crypto hodling trading, I think that's a pretty good investment. All I'm trying to say, whether it was with $60,000 or whether it was $1,000, is that if you base it on price action, there's a lot of winners. But I can't tell you when to sell or trade, but that is a good example. So thank you for bringing that up. Zcash is winning. I'm listening, my dude. Thank you for being in the process of answering questions. No problem, V. I appreciate you being here. I really do. And I want to answer your questions. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to answer a few of your questions in here, and we'll get back to the other questions. We have now, appreciate the info. I do believe there are 2 Nest vaults available in the U.S. currently. That's why I've been looking at 2. There are 2 Nest vaults. From my understanding, there's 1, but we can't get all of them right now. So look at those Nest vaults. Go to Plume's site. Go look at those Nest vaults. See if that's something that you're interested in. And again, I can't tell you whether or not to invest. That's not up to me. But then see if that's something that you want to do. There's other ways to make money in this market other than crypto trading. You can get yield. You can do other things. Phantom Beat, those ETH fees was kicking my butt using DeFi exchanges, but things are way better now. Hey, let me tell you, Phantom Beats, thank you, man. I've been rocking with Phantom Beat, and he's been rocking with me since the very beginning. So I appreciate you, Phantom Beat. Since I first started my platform, going on 5 years, Phantom. 5 years you've been rocking with me. And over the last few years, he's right. At one point, probably year 3, it was like $40, $50 for ETH. They had to do a revision of how they do fees. But it brings up something that I think is important. One thing that brings up, I think it's important that people don't realize is during those historical time periods, there's been different approaches to cure this ETH problem. Y'all remember side chains? Sure you do. Zilliqa. You remember other things such as that? Polygons were launched. See, during this time frame, other projects have been launched to address the issue of technology at that time. Some of those technology issues have been resolved while others haven't. Currently, the issue with integration of blockchain is the fact that it's too open. And you need privacy and security. What I noted over 5 years, it took me 5 years to get here, is that I found out 4 years ago, which I had conversations with you about, those who follow my platform, that zero knowledge proof technologies was a consistent, ongoing conversation. It is one of the only things that can secure networks. Now, it's not the all, but it's one of the only things. Now, whether or not we are into it or understand it is irrelevant. The people who understand it, they do understand it. And I'm talking about not us. I'm talking about the blockchain developers. I'm talking about the people in financial institutions. So I started to think, maybe I should cover this more. I covered one project years ago, but maybe I should cover this more. And look at what's happened. I said to everyone in 2024, at the end of December, that moving forward, I would do content on zero knowledge proof technologies, digital identity verification, and digital data ownership. 3 things. I won't pull it up for you, but you know I've said those 3 things. And what has happened? And this year, those 3 areas have went up. I'm not an oracle. What it is, it's very simple. If you look at the time frame in which most of these blockchain companies were come to be, and you look at it now, we've got about 5 to 6 years have passed. These billionaires and millionaires invested in these technologies in 2017, 2018, 2019. The average investment time frame for venture capital is 7 to 10 years. So if you think about it, you do the math, if you invested as a venture capital in Bitcoin as a product in 2010, you're expecting your payout to come between 2017 and 2020. So if you're looking at Swift blockchain, for example, XRP, for example, XRP was created in 2012. Actually, let me not talk about XRP right now. I'm going to move on because I'm going to address XRP by itself. Swift blockchain was created in 2017. So you think. I have more on that for my underdogs. It's not what you think it is. It actually wasn't created in 2017, but you'll get that on the series. But for most folks, you think it's created in 2017. So if someone invested in as a venture capital company, there's typical 7 to 10 years investment period. So let's do the math. Watch me with my fingers. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24. We're at the 7th year. 25, 26, 27. You think these people forgot about their money? If they invested millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars into a product, they expect to get paid back with interest. So these companies are under a lot of pressure to perform regardless of the market. And these companies will either go out of business or they'll adapt. Swiftcoin has not went out of business. And a lot of money and people invested in the people who invested in them are not people who are invested lightly. These people want to make sure that they get paid. So it makes sense logically that right now in 2025, moving into 2026, we're already at the 7-year mark for companies who invested in 2017. That's why products like ZK Sync by Vitalik Buterin invested in 2017. And sure enough, 7 years later, he says something about his product and it goes up. These people are coming back to collect. Now, what you have to do is consider that. But if you don't know that algorithm, you don't get that math, if you don't think it's important, if the only thing you look at is price action, then what's going to happen is you're going to be in a position where you're looking at price action, but you don't understand the product. You don't understand the behind the scenes moves. These people are guaranteed to pick up the phone and call their partners and say, hey, what the heck's up? I want my money. What are you doing? How are you performing? I don't care the market's down. Give me my money. And if you're not ready, they will leave you behind. These people don't care about you at all. Zero. They don't care about you. So I have a very non-caring interest in these people other than the fact that I'm going to watch what they do. And I'm going to just share it with you so you can see what they do behind the scenes, piece it together. And when they move, I move. You know that song? When I move, they move. Just like that. When I move, they move. Just like that. Hell yeah. Bring that back. Okay. When I move, they going to be moving because I'm not moving until they moving. So that's what you're seeing here, folks. We got to ride those waves, because if you don't see the technology and you don't know the waves, then you're going to get left behind. So don't love any technology. Just know that the people are going to always be greedy. And as long as these people are greedy, you can literally bet on that. And by you betting on them coming back to get their money, get there while it's low so you can ride the wave. All right. That's what I want to say about that. I appreciate you telling me about that, Phantom Beat. What's up, Will? Says, hello, everyone. Tarot Destroyer. The Pandora Papers 2021 are 11.9 million documents that expose the secret bank accounts and holdings of 35 leaders totaling 32 trillion. That is interesting. I have not read that. I'm going to look at that. The Pandora Papers of 2021 are 11.9 million documents. I can't read 11.9 million documents, so I'm going to use some AI to summarize the key parts of secret bank accounts. I'm going to take a look at that because that might be some good information. Thank you for sharing that. All right, so let's get back to the conversation. I appreciate you doing that. Let's bring this back up. All right, next question. We have Dave Flowers. It says, Dave Flowers, I remember you had the same conviction and energy on Hoppy. Lost my butt on Hoppy, losing right now also on Plume. I appreciate that, Dave. I answered your question directly, so let's talk about this. So let's talk about two things. This is not a question. It's really more of a statement, but I wanted to bring this up, and it's not to embarrass you, Dave. This is because this is important to talk about. 92% of all blockchain projects, according to different reports that I've read, studies, will go to zero. That's technology projects. According to the University of Surrey, it's 90%. According to the University of British and Europe, over 10 years of studying is 92%. According to a study came out by CoinGecko, 50% of all blockchain technologies in 5 years will go out of business. And so now let's talk about memes. A meme coin, by its inherent statement, has zero intrinsic value. You are a crypto gambler the moment you invest in a meme coin. You know it when you get in it. You recognize it. You accept the responsibility for it. You own your decision. A meme coin has zero value. Let's talk about it first. I have told people about 3 meme coins. 3 in my 5 years. I have 865 videos I produced. I have thousands of hours I produced. And the 3 meme coins in 5 years I've talked about are the following: Shiba Inu, Turbo, and Hoppy. Now, during that same time frame, every one of those 3, at some point from the time I talked about it, has been over the amount at least 100%. And if you did not take the opportunity to sell when your project was over 100%, then the only explanation is that you was hoping it would go further. You gambled. And if you hoping it went further and you gambled and you lost, then you can't then be upset. And it's not trying to be critical. It's just being true. It is your money. Because I promise you, the same money that you got over that amount, if you was in those 3, Shiba Inu, Turbo, and Hoppy, you didn't send me one dime. Not one bank account transaction, not one Western Union, not one crypto dollar came from your bank account to Underdog Researcher. Zero. Nothing. So if I didn't get any financial benefit, I was never your financial advisor. And that means what you're doing here is taking your responsibility, your money, and not taking ownership for it. And you're putting it on me. And you're saying, as you quote, you're saying to me, you had same conviction and energy. I have the same conviction and energy because this is my personality on everything I talk about. I could be talking about a doorknob. I'm still going to be underdog. This is my personality. And so I don't know what you would want me to do in this situation. You said then on top of that you lost your butt on Plume. That brings up so many questions, not only for Hoppy, but for Plume, because unlike Hoppy, Plume is a utility token. It was only launched in April of 2025. At the time in which this is being broadcasted to you, it's November of 2025. So let's do the math here. If Plume was launched in April of 2025, it's April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. That's 8. I didn't talk about Plume until 4 months ago. So I don't know how you can lose your butt in Plume right now unless you made the fatal mistake that only those who gamble make. You are investing based on gambling and you sold at a loss. No one told you to sell at a loss. You had no conviction in the product you had. You didn't understand what you had, or you didn't want to own the technology. You didn't want to understand that a SEC verification could be a good thing or it could be nothing. You made a decision to sell something you bought at one value at a lower value. At the time in which I talked about Plume, when it first came out, it was 6 cents. At this time, the last I looked, it was at 5 cents. At the height of it, it was 13 cents. Which one are you? Are you the customer or person or retail investor who got it as soon as you heard it from Underdog Research channel that I discovered it and I talked about it? Because I discovered it too, but I didn't discover it in April. I only discovered it 4 months ago. So did you look at it then and you said, hey, I bought it at $1,000 worth of it at 6 cents. It's now dropped down to 5 cents. So I invested, my entry in the market was 6 cents. It went down to 5 cents at right now in November. So that means I'm down 10%. Or did you not watch the video at that time? And you made a decision that you invested at the 13 cents. And now it's down to 5 cents. Guess what? Bitcoin was 125,000. It beat all-time highs. Right now, Bitcoin's at 100,000. You can't tell me the market's the same market. But again, that's if you're looking at price action. My platform is not made for price action. I don't do price action. I don't give you investment advice. I told you about Plume, and I got serious about Plume and what it does. And if you watch the information, I told you in the beginning, and I'll tell you now, whether it's Plume or Hoppy, 2 different products. One of them with utility, one of them without. The community was the part I liked about Hoppy, just like Shiba Inu, just like Turbo. And that type of market, if you're based it on that, you need 3 things. You need a dev team to promote, you need community members to buy, and you need other people to push. You help me out with this. How are you going to make people around the globe buy something that they don't want to buy? How are you going to make dev teams promote something they don't want to promote? And how are you going to make people push something they don't care about? Because it has 0 intrinsic value. And if the community starts to fail, if the community fades away, and that's the primary aspect that makes the project good, then you're looking for a confirmation from a content creator to tell you how great it is. I can't give you that. Plume and Hoppy are not the same. Plume is connected to the President of the United States partnership with USD1. Plume is connected through the SEC, verified as an agent. Plume is connected to ZKMe, the Zero Knowledge Technology Proof. Plume is connected to Mocha with a $6 billion company behind it. Plume is connected even deeper than that. It's connected through Nest. Plume is connected to BlackRock. Plume is connected to Hampton Lane. Should I keep going? I can't tell you what to buy, Dave. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to sell. But I can address this by saying, my conviction and energy is my personality. Your decision is your own. Every video you'll see in the description, the same thing I'm telling you now. Do not use this for financial or trading advice. I've said it so many times. I even got it printed in the videos. It's for educational purposes and it's research. When you stop taking ownership for your own investment, you really are saying that you don't want to pay for knowledge. So you didn't send me anything. You didn't go pay a financial advisor. You didn't take time to research it. You're giving all the ownership to somebody else. What about your own? Own your investments or don't invest. That's my best advice. So with respect, that's my answer to your question. All right, let's go to the next question. Thank you very much. Let's keep going. We got John Holmes. Underdog question. Can you do a show on what computers are running crypto and who is running those computers? Because, for example, BlackRock and Aladdin do not have our best search that heart. So I am thinking, who else is running these computers and systems on the internet of trust per se? John Holmes, that is a well thought out question. You know, I want to address you, John. I can't really answer your question for a couple of reasons. What you're talking about is so essential. It's so nuanced and it's so intelligent. It takes more than what I will have time here to address. First of all, you're right on the money. It is all manipulation. The computers that we use, the social media that we're exposed to, the AI and the way it manipulates data, the trading bots, the arbitrage, the makers, the developers, the system itself is rigged. So I would be speculating and guessing if I could tell you clearly what systems would give you the clearer view. What I believe, though, is there are technologies that are being created that I'm aware of, but the technologies are not done yet. And those technologies should be able to assist us. But in order for us to assist us, we have to have faith and trust that the same people that we believe and we mistrust will do us positively. I know this is not going to answer your question, but it actually relates to why I like the zero knowledge technologies for this reason. Even if everybody is a bad actor, even if everybody lies, even if everybody is telling you fake information, even if the oracles like Chainlink are exposed to bad data and that data goes into the system, zero knowledge proofs is the technology that you cannot prove something is true if it's wrong. So even if you're a bad actor, that technology is one of the things that help keep bad actors from being bad actors, which is why I believe that companies like Marina are investing in hardware wallets with ZK proofs, why XRP is investing in ZK technology, why Swift invests in ZK technology. Everybody's investing in it because we don't trust anybody. And that's the point. So, John, I can't give you an answer. I understand clearly what you're asking, and it's a great question. But for me to answer, it's coming from a place of theory more than a place of knowledge base. And for me to answer that, I would have to speculate, and I don't want to do that. So my personal perspective is I don't have the answer. I can't tell you who is going to do right by us, who is running the computers do right by us, because we don't have the same access as these millionaires. But I can tell you that certain technologies I believe in, and ZK technology is one of those technologies. Now, there's a product called CKB, Common Knowledge Base. Not a lot of people talk about it. Right now, it's been hammered. If you're looking at it from a price action standpoint, it might not look like a good investment. But I've been wanting to talk about that more in depth. I've talked about it a little bit over the years, but common knowledge base is one that I like because of the fact that it is doing some things that make it quantum computer resistant. People are not talking about that. Decentralized storage, quantum resistance. Ultimately, all these blockchains are at risk, and even AI is at risk with quantum computing. But because it's not in our face right now, we think that we're safe. But people have quantum computers. They're just not small enough that they can see them on a regular basis. But state actors, countries have them, and they manipulate it. So right now, I don't know what to tell you to answer your question. So that's my best answer. Thank you for asking that. All right, so let's get back over here to the questions, and then I'll go back to what was asked. We have next question, 100% V. I trust Plume. I will hold till 2030. I need to say this. Thank you for saying that. Listen, folks, again, I'm tired of saying that it's not for financial advice, so I won't say it's just not for financial advice. You should know that by now. You should never get financial advice from a pixel on a YouTube page or any other place that you're receiving this information. But I want to say this. You're not an investor if you are gambling. You got to be realistic. Plume is not understood. RWAs are not understood. Tokenization is not well understood. You either are the person who bought Bitcoin for a couple of cents when they first came out and bought pizzas. Do you think that person realized the value of Bitcoin? No. That's the whole point. If you don't have conviction by understanding the technology, if you don't even understand the technology, then you won't buy. Confused minds don't buy. But that means that if you are buying things to sell quickly, then you are not a retail trader or investor. You are a crypto gambler. Most people are crypto hodlers who buy it and they're hoping they go in at a good entry. I can't help you with your entry. My job is simply to share the research that I do on my own with you. And then you have to make a decision what your entry is and what your exit is. That is important. But just like we see here, I trust I will hold Plume to 2030. I gave you the research, BlackRock research that was done by Plume. Their article said that between $10 billion and $1 trillion, at least, at minimum, will be in the RWA category by 2030. It's 2025, about to be 2026. So I'm just saying, if I'm going to hold something that's 5 to 6 cents, it's 5 to 6 cents. It costs me nothing. And if I hold it for 5 years and it happens to go up to dollars, I'm going to have dollars later. But people are looking for money now. That's really a personal decision. So I appreciate you saying that comment about trust and Plume you're holding in 2030, because that's how I look at it. I'm a crypto hodler who's a researcher. And so I like that. So I appreciate you saying that. Let's see the next question. Mike does. I've been saying it for a while. Bitcoin has to drop below 100K and stay there for a while for there to be an out. Oh my goodness, yes. So for those, this is great. For those who are into crypto trading, every single time, if you are paying attention to this, again, this is not financial advice. Mike does is literally telling you a historical price action pattern. When crypto crashed, 2020 crashed, and when it went down to 10,000 from 20,000, what happened afterwards? Altcoin season. We keep hearing these things again and again. Every time crypto crashes, people are so accustomed to it, they don't understand the pattern. When crypto crashes, this is the opportunity for those who are crypto hodlers to determine if there's a project that they wanted to buy more of, that they believe they have conviction in, that they understand the technology is going to do better. Mike does is telling you exactly right. Until Bitcoin dominance goes down, there's not going to be investments into altcoins. And the institutional rails is what causes the money to go up, not us. Because if retail investors could make it happen, we'd all be millionaires. But our money is only going to do so much. We need bigger investments, and that's how it works. So I totally agree with you. Thank you for saying that. Every alt season is eliminating algos. True. The institutions are trying to control the tech by owning it. True. Hit them. It's getting to the point of who has the best connections, the real world. Most crypto is good enough for management of data. Mike, I'm gonna keep showing this. This is true. People will be willing to wait a little longer for a network to respond. I'm loving this. Mike, let's keep going. I'm not going to keep going yet. Mike is on fire. Speed and hash rate is balanced out by now for the general data needs. Facts. There are faster cryptos than Solana, for example. Keep going. Whales that own the tech don't want to let go when Bitcoin drops. Facts. FOMO. That I call a word. That is a word. That is a word. Thank you for sharing that. I agree with everything Mike said right there. I totally agree. I'm going to get back to that, but thank you, Mike, for saying that. I appreciate that. That was good. That was good. Okay, next question. The Venom. Hi, I lost my 5K on Plume. Do you think I should sell or hold? It's going down. Help. All right, thank you. This is the same question, and I won't take as long to go into that. What you're asking me, Venom, is a advice from a fiduciary standpoint, financial advice. I don't know you, you don't know me. And I mean this respectfully. I can't even utter to you my personal opinion about your actions, because then I would be violating the law and giving you financial advice. I can't give you that. What I can say respectfully, the same way I told the other person earlier, you don't maintain a loss until you sell. That's a fact. If you have $10,000 and it's down 5, and now you have 5K, the question is no longer about if you believed or liked the technology that you invested your $10,000 into. The question truly is, Venom, it truly is, do you want to hold it, or do you want to finalize your loss by selling at a loss? Now, I can't tell you what to do, but this is my logic. This is my personal opinion. I'm not your financial advisor, so I'm going to give you my personal opinion. Let's make sure I'm very clear on that. I have, in my investment history, taken things that I've lost 90% and finalized it by selling with a 90% loss. And I took that 10% and reinvested into something that I thought would move quicker in a shorter amount of time. And then that thing went up 10x. And that made me break even. I need you to follow what I'm saying. But very rarely have I ever taken something that's down 50%, as you're stating, you lost 5K. I'm assuming you had 10,000. It could be a different amount, but that's just for a point of conversation. Sold at 50% off just because the market's down. I have never done that. I've never done that. The only time I've ever taken a substantial loss in regards to selling at a low is when I have strayed outside of my strongest area of competency and been in a meme coin. Because unlike a utility-based coin, I recognize it's a gamble. And I'm hoping, based on the researchable things that I see, that I can take that opportunity and that meme coin project would have a stronger moving community. Understanding completely that the factors that push a meme coin are not the same as the factors that push utility. So I took that L. And I owned it. I didn't blame it on one person. I didn't go to one person and say, look what you made me do. You did a video about that meme coin. But you're not talking about a meme coin, Venom. You're talking about Plume. If you're asking my personal opinion, Plume is the only one in the category that has a SEC approved transfer agent. That's valuable. But if you don't understand what that means, then you don't understand the value of Plume. Plume is not a short-term investment because RWAs are small. But if you go to rwa.xyz, I can show you every RWA in the world globally, and Plume's number one. And it did it from April, and then within 2 months became number one. Now, part of that is because there's not a lot of RWAs, but still, we're talking about right now in their vault, they have about $500 million sitting. So Plume is no joke, but I can't tell you what to do. My best help to you, the Venom, is simply to tell you this. Go through my Connected series. Go through that. Become a member. Go through my Swift Coin series. I know you're talking about Plume, but by you going through this, it's an education on the thing you got in your hand. You have to make a decision, though, whether you want to keep it. So I hope that answers your question. Next conversation. All right, we already did that one. Swift down 89%. We already talked about that. All right, so we got the next one. Lulu 2485. What about backs? Now I put this one in yellow, Lulu. I'm not sure if you were joking with me. Y'all see how Lulu said that? What about backs? He's talking about a project that I covered years ago. So I'm going to talk about backs, but let me look it up first because I feel like you're just playing games, Lulu. But I'm going to, because I said I want to answer questions, let me pull it up. I'm going to respect you because I like the beard and the shades, but I want to look this up first while we're doing this. Now, backs, while I'm looking through my videos, was a cryptocurrency project I brought up year one of my channel, I believe. Here we go. Let's bring it up. It was called BAB also. So let me do this. Let me share this with you all. And let's go and check it out ourselves. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. I'm going to put this over here. I think you can see that, everyone. All right. And let me do this before I share it. So there's a question. All right. So I'm going to max this out for everyone so that we're on the same page. I can't max it out bigger than that. Here we go. All right. I'm going to put this here. Let me do one more change and then we'll talk about this because I don't like where my head is at on this. Okay. All right. So here we go. Let me take this off of mic. All right, let's talk about it. So as we can see here, I'm going to make this bigger. It is currently at the time in which this is being broadcasted, November the 4th of 2025. You're asking me about the video I did April the 11th of 2021. The second video I did, May 7th of 2021. The third video I did, May 30th of 2021. And a video short I did, July 2nd of 2021. So in order for me to answer your question, I got to go back. And I got to go back how far? Let's see how far I got to go back. I got to go back 4 years just for you to see this. And let me share this part with you, everyone. Let me also share this with you. Let's take this off. Get back to stage. All right. If everybody can still see here, let me share this part. There we go. All right. Hope everybody's still with me. So you're asking me about a video that it clearly shows I did 4 years ago. And I have zero extra information. At the time that I can tell you, to the best of my knowledge, I did 2 videos on backs. And the 2 videos I did on backs went up exponentially during that time frame. And After I did the 2 videos on backs, I stopped covering backs. I have zero additional information I can add to it. Now, if you got into this project called BAB, aka backs, back then, 4 years ago on April 11th, 2021, then you had an opportunity to jump in. It went up. I can't remember if it went up 5x, 10x. We would have to look at the charts, but you made money. This was the same year that I made the Tailcoin video. But the problem with this in general is that once research is done, if the person's not keeping up on that research, then there's nothing else they can add to it. So I can't really add to the conversation about backs because there's nothing else to add. I would have to continue to research. Crypto goes out of business, most companies, in 92%. So I can't really tell you about something in April of 2021 I did. Now there's November of 2025 and give you any additional information. Think about all the things that's happened. I believe at the time that video was done, let's go look for somebody to take a look. How much was Bitcoin? I believe it was like $20,000 to $30,000. So Bitcoin itself has went up 4x. Backs, to my knowledge, it may have done a 10x back then or a 5x. Don't quote me, but I know that it did at least a 5 to 7x back in 2021. So Lulu2485, I saw you got the emoji with the little smiley face. I don't know if you was trying to poke at me, but either way it goes, I don't have any updated information on backs. It was 4 years ago. I did 2 videos on it, and I haven't covered it since. So I can't tell you what's up with backs. So that's what I want to say. All right, let me get back to y'all's comments, folks, and see what you're saying in the chat. Where we at? All right, where we at? Here we go. All right, so let me go to here. All right, Mike says a large capital will probably go to the new ETF like XRP. We're going to talk about XRP tonight. We're going to talk about XRP. I think it's important. Mike does, then the rest, okay? Mike does, all hypothetical, not financial advice. The markets are controlled by sentiment. We'll talk about that too. Don't remind me, let me star this one. The markets are sentiment. I do believe a certain amount of the markets are by sentiment, but Mike, my difference in opinion is sentiment is really for retail investors. The markets are controlled by institutional investors. So when you say, on one hand, you said earlier in your post about the big institutional investors controlling the markets, I believe you, and I believe that's true. But you're saying sentiment. I don't believe that those both things can be true. Why would a institutional investor care about what you think is a retail investor? And I'm not being disrespectful to you, Mike. I'm just saying, why would they care? They don't. Once they invest their money, they want to get paid. You, as the retail investor, will use the product. No different than a company. If you don't own the restaurant, then you are a patron. You're in a different ecosystem than the owner of the restaurant. You think differently. You will eat what they serve you. As retail investors, we're eating what they give us. So they don't really care what we like. So that's my only disagreement with what you're saying with that is sentiment controls. I guess, here's my happy medium. And I'm not trying to find a happy medium because you want my opinion. Sentiment may control some price action on a daily to weekly basis. But institutional investors control the trajectory. So although I agree there can be wins when people like something, like Vitalik Buterin said something, and what happened? The price of ZK Sync went up 120% in 24 hours. And again, then what happened? It went down 80%, 60%, whatever it was. Why? Because retail investment can only sustain an upward momentum for so long. You got to have buyers, you got to have sellers. Once those buyers and sellers go out, what can you do? So that's my thoughts on that. Strike delisted, went from double digits down to 3 cents. Good example. Was 50% before it got delisted. I think Strike will rebound. It's a BTC app for banking with BTC. $50. Wow, that's a huge drop. $50 And what was it before? 3 cents. Did you say $50 to 3 cents? Ah, that's huge. Now, that brings up another thing. Just because something doesn't work in the market doesn't mean it can't be used. I got plenty of conversations I've had about this in the past. Some technologies are not made for retail investments. They're made to improve a system, and they don't have to be in a market. You don't have to sell the tokens. Token sales is for fundraising. If a company or a country like China or any other country wants to use a technology that they've been shown to use it, and they don't have to release it publicly. So I can see how that can work. Okay, Phantom Beach. These fire sales we see will be cut short soon. Once the clarity bill gets signed, shake out. Banks know we can make passive income off of them now. Facts. I bought the dips. I heard that. All right, let me jump over here, get somebody new. Some people say they use VPN and trick the system to think they're in the EU. I'd be scared to do that because if they find out, they could probably shut your account down and claim your money. They could absolutely do that. They have done that. And you put a big risk. People do it all the time. I don't do it either. So I agree with you. Let's go up to, I missed one. Hero Tommy, tomorrow is a blood moon. All right. What's going to happen with that blood moon? Some people say, oh, you already said that one. Let's see. BlackRock been dumping their BTC. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Don't know why yet, but I have some thoughts of what's going on. But like I said, they know because they're in the know. All right, so let's get back to this. I want to make sure I get through these questions. I got a few more to go. Here we go. All right, underdog question. Plume did a lower low today. Man, I'm nervous about my investment. All right, Dave Flowers, we talked about that earlier. This is kind of the same. I won't go too far in depth with this. Plume, matter of fact, I'm going to answer your question. If you're following my platform for daily investment strategies, you're in the wrong place. I love to have your patronage. I'm happy that y'all enjoy my videos, but do not follow my platform for daily price action. I don't give it in my research. You need to go to a platform who covers something daily, and you need to have trading view. You got to be engaged, and I won't be able to help you. But if you're nervous about your product, again, as I've been saying to people, your only choices are either to do something about it or to hold on to it. So that's really a choice. Now, let me look at this 1 second. Let me go to the next question. Underdog, is Concordium on Kraken a zero knowledge proof? So Concordium is a identity layer 2 product. And although there has been conversations about the integration of zero knowledge technology, it's identity verification product. So I have been talking about this a little bit, and I've been telling people that digital identity verification, KYC, is important. So you'll see this come up. Now, I don't know if I'm going to cover Concordium because I didn't hear about it until you told me about it, but that's what that product is. All right, here we go. Scott M. Nothing is going to be anonymous with this. All gets adopted. If you think people are going to move money in privacy, you're out of your mind. Who cares anyway? Oh, come on. Come on now. So, Scott, let's talk about it. Scott is replying to my conversation that XRP, you see that big old XRP sign that Scott has, is integrating ZK proofs. And he's saying that nothing is going to be anonymous with this when it all gets adopted. If you think people are going to move money into privacy, you're out of your mind. No, Scott, you're out of your mind to think not. There is zero people legally who want their information shared, who they send money to, and the regulators are already established that you cannot send money without having privacy security. for transactions. The IRS has passed this as a regulation since 2023. That's why on your taxes, you have to tell them what digital assets you have. That's not changing. And when it all gets adopted, we won't see it. It's going to be so integrated, it's behind the scenes. But rest assured that there is no system, no bank that's going to want you to work like Bitcoin works, for you to put money and transfer it to other people so that everyone can watch your wallet, see how much money you sent, see how much crypto you have. That is the reason we have data breaches today. So banks and institutions are requiring it. How do you know this? What do you think KYC is? If we didn't have KYC, everybody would still be on the same platforms. So KYC is mandatory. And why is it mandatory? So that they can get paid. One thing you can know for sure, Scott, the government is going to want their piece of the pie. And if the government has access and they're to seeing who sends what, that's one thing. But you are not going to be able to see what I send. And I don't want you to see what's in my crypto. I don't want you in my business, Scott. So I know that I'm not the only person who don't want you in my business. The other people don't want you in their business. So when you say that I'm out of my mind because I think that privacy is not important in money and who cares, I care and everybody else cares. Scott, if you want to show me how much money you can make, if you want people to know your privacy, and we're not even talking about just money, your medical information. What about your DNA information? What about your bills? What about your sexual habits? What about all those other things that people consider private? That is what blockchain does. It transfers data, not just money. So privacy and security is the key element that separates companies like BlackRock from investing in XRP, for example. They haven't invested, they didn't use XRP. Why? Because they weren't ready yet for their type of privacy for their investors. So yes, I disagree strongly, and that's my thoughts. Privacy is one of the key things because privacy creates security, and security keeps us from getting data breaches. And data breaches is what makes you lose money. So no institution, no banks, no retail investors are going to want to trust that they send their money and anybody can watch their wallets to target them and steal their crypto or to take their money. Who wants that? So yeah, privacy is very important. Thanks, Scott. All right, we got the next one. XRP. Okay, so this is John Sherling. He's responding to my video on XRP. You have zero proof now. Swift coin was first. His comment was, "You're not a smart person and it's sad." Thanks, John. You know what's sad, John? What is sad, John, is when people are ignorant. And I can't help you from being ignorant, but what I can do, John, is help educate you through knowledge. The thing that you're ignorant about is similar to what Scott was saying. You heard XRP and you want to be a part of the XRP army. And therefore, to be a part of that army, you have to have tribalism. You have to believe in that, and only that project is the only one everyone will use. Your logic fails on the face value of what you said. Here's why it fails. In regards to this particular video, XRP has zero proof now. Swift coin was first. Swift blockchain was created in 2017. The company was GooCoin, was created in California in 2016. It was a corporation, and 5 months later it became an LLC. Now, Ripple Pay was created in 2004. That 2004 was by Fugger. Fugger is a Canadian inventor who made a Ripple network for credit cards, not XRP. It had zero knowledge proofs. It didn't have it at all. It didn't even know what that was. In 2012, 3 people consorted with Fugger, and they went into business and they created what you know to today as XRP. the Ripple of that day, 2012. They had no zero knowledge technologies. The technology of that time had nothing to do with zero knowledge technologies at all. Zero. They didn't talk about it. In 2015 and 2016, there was 2 studies. Millions of transactions on the Ripple network were studied by blockchain scientists. The results of that study said that 70% of blockchain transactions and other transactions going to hard wallets and hot wallets on the Ripple network could be attributed to a person. They were doxxed. 70%. 30% that was left. Did I say 70%? Excuse me. It was 79%. That means you could read Ripple network like a book and expose who had what and connect a wallet to a real world person. And the thing that they suggested, the scientists who looked at millions of transactions, was that Ripple would upgrade and integrate zero knowledge proofs. That was 2015 to 2016, which means that at the time in which those research studies were done on millions of transactions, Ripple did not have zero knowledge technologies integrated. SwiftCoin opened 2016 as GooCoin. It created an app called Swift app. And then SwiftCoin, the blockchain was launched. And they integrated day one zero knowledge technologies. And then again in 2021, they chose a different company for zero knowledge technologies, which is ZK Sync, which is currently used today. It wasn't until January of 2025 that David Schwartz, who is the chief technology officer of XRP, made an announcement that XRP would integrate zero knowledge proofs. It wasn't until September the 2nd of 2025, actually September the 22nd of 2025, that the XRPL ledger stated that they went into business with DNA Protocol to integrate zero knowledge technologies, which means, John, I'm not the one who's not smart. You are not educated. And now you've been educated. 2025 is years after SwiftCoin's integration of zero knowledge technology in 2017. So that means, John, that SwiftCoin came first with zero knowledge technology integration. XRP had no zero knowledge proofs, which was the video and the thing that I said. So you're not a smart person, and it's sad. John, you've been educated. Good? We're good. Thanks, John. All right. Let's go back. All right. So now we are done talking to John. I hope you learned something there, John. I hope that helped educate you a little bit on the conversation. I appreciate it that you left a comment, but know what you're saying before you say it, John. All right. Matt, can you tell me what the coin name of the green one is with the Z? So let me show you what that is. So Matt, in my videos, I often show you this. And for those who don't know what that is my representation of zero knowledge proof technologies. When I put a Z in the video, that is my way to have a visual representation of when I refer to zero knowledge proof technologies. So that's what that is. So you're aware of it. And that answers that question. Now let's go back over here. Let's see what we have going on here, folks. We have Underdog Research channel, thumbs up. Mike does, let me take this off here. All markets are obviously coupled, yes. Whales. BlackRock gonna choose Swift That's SWIFT. XRP is going to run on Swift. That's not the same Swift, but I see what you're saying. Mike does, what's your thoughts on Bitcoin SV? Bitcoin, silver, and gold, then copper and all the other metals. The whales to follow trends that money follows its own tail. El Salvador inherited a lot of wealth. I'm waiting for AI to make its own crypto algo for applications. I guess the algos got so good they don't need consensus. Zero knowledge. Awesome. Okay. All right. So we're going to get back to the questions. Let's see here, folks. We've been at it for a little bit now. Let me see where we at. Here we go. We saw this one. All right. Ooh, yee. I remember when you used to talk about a crypto P rocket that failed miserably. I remember that too. And I addressed it earlier. So this particular project I talked about, let me look real quick. I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I like the fact people think that they're calling me out, but it's not calling me out, because if everything works and it goes up and it wins, then we would be in a good place in general in life, but that's not the way life works. Some things are going to work, some things are not. But let me pull this up so we can find it. Let me find that on my channel so I can give you a gist of when I talked about that project. All right, while we're waiting. All right, yes, okay. So November the 1st of 2021 is when I talked about this project called P Rocket. That's not really what it's called, but let's talk about what that was. And let's talk about is that it failed miserably. So let's talk about it. So this project had purported to be a project technology that would provide censorship so children wouldn't see adult products such as intimacy on the World Wide Web. So I looked at that and I thought that was going to be something that people want to see. Right now, if you look at the internet and Google, the way that they framed it, you can go and search and your kids or anybody can see anything they want to. But with this, it would take all that content that's adult content, place it in blockchain, and have KYC and other verification so that you can't even look at that content without having this technology. Now, imagine that industry, billions of dollars. What happened with this? So, just like anything else, you had devs that were anonymous. You got greed, and you got people behind the scenes. Has nothing to do with me, just the way it is. These people mismanaged this project. They made money, and then they left the project. Everybody, the team left the project. Everybody. And they took the people's money that they had in the project, and that is the price. What can we do? 2021 November, this project, to my knowledge, at the time in which we talked about it, gave you good information, but that's all you had. Nothing we can do to look behind closed doors. Nothing you can do to tell you what someone's going to do. If we could do that, we could stop crime. Just imagine we're able to see in the minds of the criminal element and know what they're going to do. I would be the greatest investigator on earth. But you know the way fraud really works in real life? The way it really works is that you use information and you make plans that are alternate than the information out there. So they invested thousands, if not millions of dollars into people and products that lie. And unfortunately, data in is just as good as data out. So if you got good information on the World Wide Web, which is where we do our searches as researchers, and that research makes sense, and you provide that research and you're aware of it. Now you have to make a decision whether or not you invest your hard-earned money in it. So this project is still live out there apparently, but is not listed on a lot of exchanges. And they, in my personal opinion, did not uphold the promises that they stated they would do to their customers. And their customers were anybody who invested in a token. So I think the purpose of this comment was to be like, oh my God. No, folks, listen, 92% of these projects are going to go to zero. 92%. This particular project technology, a little bit more on a riskier side, but you know what we got to do? We got to take our risk. You get the research, you learn about it, you make your decision. And after that, you own your decision. But if we have people who never want to own their decisions and only want to blame others, this is not the market for you. You got to get out of crypto. Get in something like, knitting. Less risk. But in crypto, you're going to have to take risk. So that's the answer to that. I hope that answered your question. But I think it was more of a statement, but I just want to make sure. All right. Next, we have this one right here. And what is this? This is Kavin Ra T. You think ZK reach $1? Hey, Kevin Rod, thank you for asking this question. So I don't give financial advice. I can't tell you whether or not I believe it's going to reach $1. I don't do price action. The whole point of this is to tell you that I do research. I provide that research to you. Now, you're asking me a personal opinion. I can give you my personal opinion. My personal opinion is zero knowledge is a general term. I think what you're referring to is ZK Sync, because that's the only project that I actually set a name to. But there's other ones I talked about. For example, ZK Me is the underlying ZK technology that doesn't have a token for Plume and Mocha. So is that going to reach $1? It doesn't have a token. The company's worth millions. So if I'm understanding your question, if you're asking me, do I think zero knowledge can reach $1, then I can't answer you financially because that would be advising you. And it's just be speculation. You don't want to know my opinion if it's going to reach $1. What does it matter what I think? Seriously, think about it. If I say it's going to reach $2 or $1,000, what does it matter? You don't base anything off of people's opinions. Do you think it's going to reach $1? Have you researched the technology? What's your thoughts? That's the only thing that matters. Now, ZK is not a token. Zero knowledge is a mathematical algorithm, just to be clear. ZK Sync is a token, and there's other tokens in that category that do zero knowledge technologies. Any of these have potential, but I can't tell you whether or not it's going to get to $1. So I hope that answers your question. All right, let's see here. We have a Phantom Beat. DLT is the way to make passive income off the banks. Great time to be involved. I like it. HODL is the way to go. Tony G, I'm telling you, that's most of us. Now, Phantom Beat, what do you mean by DLT is the way to make passive income off of banks? Great time to be involved. Just I want to make sure I understand your acronym. And Tony said HODL is the way to go. That's my thoughts. Most of us are HODL investors. That's my term. HODL investors. You buy something, you get the best entry you can find. It's going to go down below your entry at some point. It's going to go up, hopefully. And that's what you look at. We're HODL investors. Very few people are retail investors who are actual day traders who look at charts and trade daily. If you are, more power to you, but I'm the wrong platform. I don't give you any price action. So why look at my platform unless you just want to know about the project? All right. Next, last three questions, folks. Here we go. We've been doing this for a while. Shoot. Here we go. Aaron, Underdog, love the content, bro. On another note, are you related to Tech9? So let's see here. Am I related to Tech9? I appreciate you. You like the content. Let me look up Tech9, and then we'll judge together. Tech9. Let's see if my folks who are watching think I look like Tech9. All right. So let me find a better video. All right. So I'm going to look up Tech Nine. While I'm looking up Tech Nine, I appreciate you, Aaron, for bringing some humor to the conversation. Tech Nine. All right, here we go. So now, let me let me show everybody who he's saying I look like or any relation to, and then y'all y'all let me know. You let me know if Underdog looks like Tech Nine. All right, here we go, guys. Let's share this. Share this right now. All right. So here we go, folks. Do I look like Tech Nine? You be the judge. Be real now. There we go. Tech Nine. Let me do the look. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. The beard, the bald head. I like it. I like it. So y'all be the judge. Do I look like Tech Nine? Y'all be the judge. All right. So let me take that off. All right. So going to the final two questions. All right, here we go. Matt, can you tell me what the name of the, okay, well, I already answered that one. And all right, that's all the questions. Woo! Folks, that was a marathon not to do. See, this is why I don't do it all that often. So I appreciate that. Let me see what y'all have in the audience. All the charts Mike does. We will be able to lend our crypto for nice high yields in the not so distant future. Absolutely. Yes, I agree. All right. I think I got most people's comments. All right. I need to conclude this. I've been talking to y'all going on 2 hours. That's super long. And I got to, do some other things. I like talking to y'all, but this takes a lot of time. So I hope that y'all enjoyed. This was the crypto questions, Underdog answers. I'm going to leave this up for people to refer to. I might chop it up so that y'all can have this in bits and pieces versus having 2 hours. No one got 2 hours. I don't have 2 hours, but I did this for you. If you want to join the memberships, folks, please take the moment. You want the researchable information? Scan the QR code. It might not worth 2 quarters, 1 dime, and a nickel. Are you trying to tell me 2 hours and I'm not worth 2 quarters, 1 dime, and a nickel of your patronage gets you the top membership? And we have the content right there. Easy to scan. I have a series going on, and I'm going to keep bringing this researchable information. This Swift Coin series I'm promoting for you to go to. It is the most in-depth conversation you'll find, and I'm giving you so many plays. Right now is the time to join. So if you want to, you're not too far behind. I have 2 sites, YouTube membership site and a private site. What's the difference? Go to private site, get training along with crypto research. Go to YouTube memberships, get research that I've released on YouTube. And I give some exclusive content on my private site that is not on YouTube. And I give YouTube members at the NS level exclusive access to content that is not released publicly. And I give other members access to early videos and other perks. So if you get the membership, even at the highest level, and go to the private site, I refund you by discounted 100% of your membership fee. So think about that. If you pay 65 cents a day, which ends up being $19.99 a month, and you go over to the private site, then I'll give you a discount code for the equivalent amount of $20 off of the memberships from the private site. Virtually now you get the things on the private site and you get the things on YouTube, all for a lower price. That's how I'm trying to give you value. So if you like what you saw here, take a minute, scan the QR code. If you want to get this type of research, stick with the underdogs. And I appreciate you sticking with me. We have reached the moment of time to go. So thank you for watching, folks. I appreciate being able to answer your questions. Make sure you subscribe, share. I'll get this information back to you in shorter parts so that you can enjoy this video easier. And until next time, this has been the Underdog Research Channel. All right, take care.
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Oh my God.